The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, is fully embracing the cringe. We have comments now from actress Morfydd Clark, who plays Galadriel, claiming that Galadriel and Sauron are cosmically connected. This comes after Charlie Vickers, who plays Sauron, says there is a psychic connection between the two, obviously trying to promote this as some kind of romantic relationship between them. In fact, a recent promotional video from The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, the official Amazon account on X, they're literally promoting a shipping name in the video. It doesn't get any more cringe than this. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Roll this up over at thatparkplace.com, and this is what Morfydd Clark said to Games Radar. She agreed with Charlie Vickers' assertion that Galadriel and Sauron share a psychic connection. We'll get to his comments in a little bit, but she says, I'd agree with him. I think there is. They're both magical, powerful beings, and I think there is something lonely to existing in that kind of sphere that they both are in. But yeah, there is some sort of cosmic connection, which I've heard Charlie mention a few times. I was like, nice, I like that. Yeah, and it will go on for thousands and thousands of years. This is just absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. Vickers, who plays Sauron, informed Games Radar at San Diego Comic-Con in July of this theory. He says, I think they're connected, if not by proximity, then by their psyche. They're higher beings, so I'm sure it runs deeper than being in the same place together. I think the fact that when she turns him down at the end of season 1, it pisses him off quite a bit. I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a part of him that thinks, I can get her to join me. So basically, Sauron is just a jilted lover now. He's really mad that Galadriel denied him, and he's going to destroy Middle-earth because of being jaded by Galadriel. That is absolutely not what motivates Sauron in Tolkien's Legendarium. He is first motivated by seemingly good intentions. He wants to rebuild the world. However, he refuses to obey the commands of the Valar and return for judgment after Morgoth was defeated. And then he lets pride creep in, and he decides to control everything and believes himself to be a god. And he's the one who should rule over Middle-earth. It's nothing to do with being rebuked by Galadriel. Furthermore, Galadriel would not be interested in Sauron anyways because she's married to Celeborn and has a daughter named Celebrian. And guess who Celebrian is married to? Elrond. And who is their daughter? Arwen. And who does Arwen marry? Aragorn. Please, these people are literally trying to destroy Tolkien's Legendarium with this show. That is their intention. Their intention is not to raise it up. They are literally trying to destroy it. I think this is very clear now. There is malice in what the showrunners and what Amazon is doing. Nevertheless, Clark expanded on the connection, telling the outlet it's terrible to have misjudged someone as Galadriel did with him. So I think that also kind of binds her to him because she doesn't make mistakes like that, and he'll forever be the person who deceived her and tricked her. I mean, if you watch season 1, she makes all kinds of mistakes. She's absolutely insufferable. The character is terrible. It is a mockery of Tolkien's Galadriel, even the one that Peter Jackson depicted in The Lord of the Rings. The character is an absolute disgrace, and the way Morfydd Clark portrays her is terrible. But we don't stop there. We have Sam Hazeldine, who is playing Adar in season 2. He also commented on their relationship. He says, I think there's something really interesting about the fact that even though she knows now that Halbrand is Sauron, there's a sense of loss there. She sort of has a hole where Halbrand once was, even though she was deceived. It's really kind of twisted and dark and interesting. I mean, this is absolutely sickening. These people really want to make you think that these two are romantically connected in some way. This is absolutely not true whatsoever. This is not how Tolkien wrote these characters. This is not how they engage and interact. This is Acolyte level of writing, and I hope this show does even worse than The Acolyte. Like, I want this show to die because it is an absolute disgrace to Tolkien. And as I just said, I think it's being done in malice to try and destroy his work, his beautiful work. So, as I've said already, the first season was not abundantly clear. This story clearly has nothing to do with The Lord of the Rings as it was written by j.r.r. Tolkien. The entire show is just using the name of The Lord of the Rings and the names of the characters to tell a completely different story. In Tolkien's Legendarium, Galadriel is not deceived by Sauron, and she certainly has no romantic feelings for him or even a cosmic connection to him, other than the fact that she obviously opposes him in multiple encounters. Obviously, in Eregion, Sauron is actually able to use his political connections with Celebrimbor to run her out. And then obviously she opposes him during the War of the Ring. She also opposes him during the War of the Last Alliance of Elves and Men, rallying the elves to that cause, being led by Gilgalad and Elrond. And as I said, she's married to Celeborn, and the two have a daughter, Celebrian, excuse me. And then we want to get into what actually Christopher Tolkien and Tolkien wrote. Christopher Tolkien, j.r.r. Tolkien's son, explaining Unfinished Tales, The Lost Lord of Middle-earth, that a note from his father, j.r.r. Tolkien, said this: Sauron endeavored to keep distinct his two sides, enemy and tempter. When he came among the Noldor, he adopted a specious fair form, a kind of simulated anticipation of the later Istari, and a fair name, Artano, highsmith, or Elendil, meaning one who is devoted to the service of the Vala Alle. In Of the Rings of Power, page 287, the name that Sauron gave to himself at this time was Anatar, the Lord of Gifts, but that name is not mentioned here. The note goes on to say that Galadriel was not deceived, saying that this Elendil was not in the train of Alle in Valinor, but this is not decisive, since Alle existed before the building of Arda, and the probability is that Sauron was in fact one of the Allian Maiar, corrupted before Arda began by Melkar. Elsewhere in that same book, Tolkien wrote this: he perceived at once that Galadriel would be his chief adversary and obstacle, and he endeavored therefore to placate her, bearing her scorn with outward patience and courtesy. No explanation is offered in this rapid outline of why Galadriel scorned Sauron, unless she saw through his disguise, or of why, if she did perceive his true nature, she permitted him to remain in Eregion. So very clear that she was not deceived by Sauron. Maybe she didn't determine the fact that he was indeed Sauron. I think that's a possibility right here. In this section, he perceived at once that Galadriel would be his chief adversary and obstacle, and he endeavored therefore to placate her, bearing her scorn with outward patience and courtesy. I think she might not have known that he was Sauron, but she clearly knew he was up to no good and wanted nothing to do with him and was politically and spiritually opposed to him. If we go to the Silmarillion, Tolkien made it clear that Celeborn and Galadriel fell in love and got married. He wrote this. This is even before Sauron enters the picture here. Galadriel, his sister, went not with him to Nargothrond in Eregion. Sauron enters the picture in Eregion, just to be clear. For in Doriath dwelt Celeborn, kinsman of Thingol, and there was great love between them. Therefore, she remained in the hidden kingdom and abode with Melian, and of her learned great lore and wisdom concerning Middle-earth. Later, Tolkien wrote this: at that time, Beren and Luthien yet dwelt in Tol Galen, the Green Isle, in the river Adiront, southernmost of the streams that, falling from Ered Linden, flowed down to join with Gelion. And their son, Dior Elukiel, had to wife Nimloth, kinswoman of Celeborn, prince of Doriath, who was wedded to the lady Galadriel. So very clear that fell in love and he got married. Celeborn and Galadriel. Nothing about Sauron. Now I would explain what happens with their children and their grandchild. So we already know that they are all pushing this whole romance stuff with the shipping and all this stuff, trying to appeal to the wokeites, because legitimate Tolkien fans abandoned the show in the first season. We saw only 37% completion rate or something like that, 33% completion rate, somewhere around there. For people who tuned in, they did not finish the show because they recognized it for what it was, an absolute abomination of Tolkien's work. So they've been trying to pander to the wokeites. It does not work. It does not work in video games. It does not work in television. It does not work in movies. These people have to continually learn this lesson. But at the end of the day, they don't care. These people do not care. They want to push this on ideological reasons. We see this with the Walt Disney Company over and over and over and over again. They have multiple failures, and yet they continue to do it. They don't change course. They continue it over and over and over again, despite it being Very clear, it does not work. In fact, we even have a Wall Street Journal report that indicates that the whole diversity hiring people doesn't work. It doesn't increase profits. The whole study that was all based off of has come under criticism for using faulty methodology and coming to inaccurate conclusions. It can't be repeated because it's fake. And you can even look at the stock market and see that if you had all of this wokeness in your company, well, why aren't the returns like 40% higher? Because it's fake. It's a complete and utter lie. But anyways, Charlie Vickers was asked a question about whether or not you would see Galadriel and Sauron being romantically involved in the second season. And he said, I think there's hope. What can we say? And then showrunner Patrick McKay says, say it. Vickers then states, yeah, I think we will. So they're totally embracing this stuff. It's sick. It's disgusting. And it's done in malice. It's done in malice to destroy the Lord of the Rings and Tolkien's Legendarium. There's no other conclusion. There's no other conclusion to draw from this now. And just to show you how cringe this is getting, and this is the ultimate cringe stuff right here. They just posted this short teaser clip yesterday evening, August 26th. Let's take a look at this. I'm not going to listen to the music here. We're just going to get like 10 seconds in, and you're going to see one of the most cringe things I've ever seen in my life. Right there. The Galadriel tease, I love you. This is how they are promoting the show. They are promoting the show by embracing shippers. Someone on Instagram, Slowburnia, posted this, and they're using it to market the show. The Galadriel tease, I love you. This is who they want to watch their show. These people don't watch the show. Look at The Acolyte, canceled after one season. No one watched it. People were tuning out. Worst performing Star Wars show on Disney Plus ever. The audience fell off a cliff. Off a cliff. I think the same thing's going to happen here. I don't even think that they're going to get to over 1 billion minutes watched on Nielsen charts. They're going to try. They got the first 3 episodes that are going to come out in the same day, and that's how they're going to try and get to that. But I doubt it's going to be tough. It's going to be really close for them to get over that mark, I think. I think so many people tuned out. They burned so many bridges, and they're burning even more. They're burning even more in the marketing here by trying to appeal to these people that just have no interest in the Lord of the Rings. That's what it is now. This is a skin suit show. And I think they're finally admitting that it's a skin suit. Bleh. Can I talk? They're finally admitting that it is a skin suit show. And this is desperation. This is absolute desperation because no legitimate Tolkien fans want to watch this crap. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know what you make of this utter disaster in the making, this ultra cringe from The Rings of Power, where they are trying to push this Galadriel and Sauron romance in the interviews that the actors are giving, in their presentation at San Diego Comic-Con, and now here in promotional material for the show, for advertisements. This is a 20-second video. I highly suspect that they will be using this in advertisements for the show, like television, YouTube ads, etc. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, but to always speak the truth.